What's going on YouTube? Jamie the Kid 00 here, and today I'm coming to you from really far down. Because the lighting was playing up. Yeah, I'm here to talk to you guys about two things. Maybe three. I'm here to talk to you about YCS Sheffield, which is coming up, which is going to be fun times, even though it is sealed play. And number two, the new decks and my thoughts on the format. And 2.5, I guess, is the fact that I'm having a go with editing, and I wish I could edit out my horrible, horrible fringe at the moment. But what are you gonna do? Anyway, let's get into topic number one. As far as topic number one goes, a lot of you would have heard me talking about YCS Sheffield in the past and how much I didn't really like the idea of a sealed play YCS. That still stands. I really wish it was constructed play, because right after YCS Toronto it'd be really interesting to play, test some of the more top tier decks and try out the deck I've come up with for the format in a very competitive environment. Sadly, I'm going to be limited to side events and locals for quite some time, because of course I can't really travel to YCS Barcelona in Spain, so I'm kind of limited in my competitive circuits. What are you going to do? But either way, I will be attending, and I figured I'd put out the question to you guys of, are you attending, and would you like to come and see me, or come and see Cupcakey, because she's obviously far more interesting than me, because I'm not interesting, apparently. What I was going to say is, basically, if you want to try and recognise me, because I said before I'd be wearing shirts at Nationals, and then I made the blunder of saying I didn't actually mention I'd be wearing a jacket, most of the time zipped up so you can't see my shirts. So basically, look out for this jacket, look out for this lovely emergency top hat t-shirt, and a t-shirt that should have some kind of Nyan cat sprawled across the front of it, because that will most likely be the shirts I choose to take to the event. And yeah, catch me in those. Other than that, I don't really have too much to talk about with the event, other than come say hi if you want to do any trades with me from my recent trade binder videos, which will be posted in the underbar. Feel free to kind of book things and say, can we do a trade at Sheffield? Also, you guys, I should probably say, help me out with trades. I want to build Frog Monarchs before YCS Sheffield comes around, so that'd be awesome. So if you could hit me up with any swap frogs, Vanity's Fiends, things like that, be splendid. But yeah, that about rounds off section 1 on YCS Sheffield. Okay, section 2. Moving on to the decks I actually think are going to be decent for the format. I think the format is going to be far more varied. A lot of people on Dueling Network especially have been asking me what my opinion is on the new triad of decks for the new format, and that really upsets me, because people have been so ground into a mindset over the past year that there are 3 good decks, and then occasionally those 3 get shuffled around and a new deck comes in, hint hint, Chaos Dragon, knocking out wind-ups for a while around the time of Long Beach and just after, and Dark World. It was horrible, but yeah, people think triad of top 3 of top decks and then tier 2. I think it's going to be very varied. A lot of people have been saying the very similar things, and I, for the most part, agree with them. They've been saying Heroes and Dark Worlds are going to be very good next format. Agents are going to come back and things like that. And they have relegated things like Machina Gadget and crazy stuff like that to Tier 2. Now, I personally don't agree with the Machina Gadget thing, because, of course, I have been testing them, and I do think they are going to be quite something, with this lovely new, really, really expensive card, which I really didn't spend a lot of money on. Joke. I feel that the format is going to be very strange. I have been testing Frog Monarchs. Yes, Frog Monarchs. And I think the Frog Monarchs are going to be amazing next format, quite personally. They absolutely wreck so many top tier decks, and it's just so crazy. And what is this? I don't see why people aren't realising that there are so many different decks that are going to be getting better. And I realised I was really far away and like really small, so I'm going to sit here. But yeah, I don't really see why people are discounting so many other decks and just leaping straight on the, oh, it was good last format but not as good, but now that Insectors is gone, it's going to be good idea. That's completely wrong. Because I still feel that Dark World will eventually lose to itself, which is what it always has done. Every time it has become popular, it has then gone, oh wait, everyone else is playing Dark Worlds, I shouldn't play Dark World Dealings, which I kind of need to play in 3 for the deck to be relatively tier 1 or tier 1.5. So it kind of kills itself. It goes, I'm popular again, dies. I'm popular, dies. And that's how it goes. And then when you're so afraid of the mirror match. And Heroes. Heroes have been really, 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 really good. Format after format after format after format after format. It has been... Heroes have been amazing for longer than I have been playing this game. And I mean, I haven't been playing that long, but I've played it long enough to realise they're not. Heroes are good, don't get me wrong. They're a strong tier 1.5 to tier 2 contender, but they are not going to be consistently topping events, and I don't think we will see Heroes taking an event this format. Just my opinion. The decks which I do quite like the look of, however, are the new plant decks, which I've seen, which are playing like Double Debris Dragon, Cyber Valleys, and for the Double Debris Dragon and Cyber Valley thing, I really wish there was like a level 5 dragon we could use. Maybe there is one now. I think I just thought about Lava Dragon, but I'm not sure about the material on it. If there is a level 5 dragon, awesome. If not, I really think there should be one. Because that'd make a really nice combo. I really think that the new plant deck is quite interesting because of its ability to play card troopers, machine duplication for those cyber dragons, all sorts of crazy things, and not really rely on the plant engine, but still have such a crazy fusion of abilities. A lot of people have been leaping off the Dino Rabbit deck. A lot of people, of course, really like the Dino Rabbit deck last format, but I really think that Dino Rabbit still has a strong chance. I think that it's going to come back. I think that it's going to come back in force. I've been testing Dino Rabbit quite extensively because, of course, I don't know, it is kind of my favourite deck of the format from last format, so I'm not just going to let it die, am I? But I really think it's going to come back because, I mean, what? Minus a tour guide and minus a rabbit. That's all that changed. However, I will counter-argue myself now, so I'll move over here. However, you didn't think about the fact that Insectors are gone. Yeah, on the flip side, Dino Rabbit did have a much better matchup against Insectors than anything else, and it was the very fact that Dino Rabbit had such an auto-win against Insectors that it was so successful because people played Insectors because it auto-won against every single rogue and semi-meta deck out there, except for Dino Rabbit. And then all the Dino Rabbit players preyed on the Insector players, which were quite rife. I mean, when I played at Nationals, I was like, yay, auto-win, 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 struggle against heroes, auto-win, auto-win, dragons, auto-win, wind-up, auto-win. I ran out of fingers, but auto-wins everywhere. That was how big events were for Dino Rabbit, because Insectors were like, we beat everything except you, aha. And then I just go, Dolka. Dino Rabbit is still a major competitor, remember that. And same system applies for wind-ups, but even more so. Wind-ups are crazy good now, especially in the US. I'm not going to be playing wind-ups here because I don't have Shockmaster, and if I'm not going to be opening Shockmaster and going, you can't dark-hold me, I'm not going to play the deck. So wind-ups are out for me. But in the US, wind-ups with Triple Magician and Triple Shark and Triple Factory, advantage is crazy, and there are so many slower decks now that just cannot keep up with it. Heroes will lose to wind-up. People are saying Heroes are amazing. If wind-up catches on like it is, and it's catching on amazingly well in the US, so many people are playing it, Heroes are just going to auto-lose to it, because Heroes go, okay, I'm going to 1-for-1, 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 and then plus occasionally, and eventually you're going to run out of cards and I'll win. See, now, there's this card called Wind-Up Factory, and Heroes lose to that. Because, I don't know, Heroes don't play that many MSTs, do they? Oh wait, most Gemini Spark builds don't play MSTs. So, guess what you're about to auto-lose to. When Wind-Up Factory comes out, you can't stop it, and they just keep plussing. You're 1-for-1ing, and they're plus-1ing, and you're 1-for-1ing. So let's do the math. You're losing out, Hero players. I wouldn't play Heroes this format. Other decks that I think are going to be interesting. Rockstun. Rockstun's going to be quite cool. I like Rockstun with block golems and crazy stuff like that, and that Catapult Zone. I think Catapult Zone is amazing. Just Catapult Zone, dump Revival Golem, revive Revival Golem, and make free Xyzes. Just, why not? It's crazy good. And then Colossal Head, you can ditch your own Book of Moon with that with Catapult Zone. You send your own Book of Moon to the graveyard and flip your opponent's monsters into face down defense position. Oh, and by the way, Thunder King is huge next format, so why wouldn't you? Think about it. But yeah, I'm not sure what other decks I was going to talk. Agents. I was going to talk about agents. So agents are going to be really interesting. They haven't had that much of a change because they've only had one more Earth come back, which is quite good. Don't get me wrong. However, I think the biggest change is going to be the fact that the variants of agent decks we're going to see. I've seen so many different agent builds on DN recently, it's scary. There are Chaos agents, Herald agents, a lot of Herald agents, TG agents, which I think is a crazy deck. Playing triple creature swap is insane. And I've also got a little inkling and a deck that I'm going to test. I haven't played against this ever, and I haven't seen anyone talk about it. I think Inzektor agents are going to be quite interesting in this format. And I'm going to try and come up with a way to build that with Armageddon Knights and crazy stuff and Chaos Sorcerers. It's going to be amazing. And it'll probably flop and be horrible and I'll hate myself for it and everyone will go, "You're a scrub." But yeah, I'm going to test that. I'm definitely going to test that. Another deck that I should probably mention before I move on is Tefnuadad. Tefnuadad is going to be interesting because a lot of people are diving on it. It's been all over YouTube. A lot of big names have done a lot of things about it and I tested it on Dueling Network, and the one thing I came up with was, this is horribly inconsistent. Sometimes you draw good things, and sometimes you draw horrible. It's like Frog Monarch. If you get to the right things in the first place, it will go off and go off and go off and never stop. However, if you don't draw the right things, if you don't draw your Tefnuts or your search versions, you kind of stall out, and you kind of got loads of big monsters and no way to get them out. That's not what you want to be doing. So, in my opinion, Tefnuadad is really interesting, but I think that the Teledad engine needs to be left alone. It's not coming back. It's not as powerful as it was. You need 3 Mali, ultimately. You need 3 Malicious for it to be as good, and more Allure of Darkness. So, I would really advise Teledad players to kind of get off that and just try something else, because I don't feel that the Teledad engine is going to be as effective, and I feel that you should more focus on decks that make better use of the space, because it's a huge engine. So that's my opinion on Tefnuadad. I might be wrong and it might be amazing, but I don't like it, quite frankly. But yeah, moving on. But otherwise, I really don't think I have anything else that I'm really thinking about for the format. So now I'm gonna move back over there and talk to you guys about single cards, because I think single cards are going to be really quite interesting. Alright, to talk about single cards of the format for a moment, I think there are going to be quite a few really interesting cards and quite a few cards that are going to really flop. This is kind of the death of hand traps for now, because the format is going to slow down initially with the amount of people that are playing Hero and Dark World, as I said before. So Effect Veilers and Maxis are going to go down the toilet initially, but do not get rid of them, I'm telling you now, because there are so many rogue decks right now that people aren't realizing and are not factoring in that Maxis and Veilers are going to be integral. This hunk of shit, excuse the language, searches out of its ass and special summons out of its ass. This is a Karakuri OTK Gear deck, by the way, and it's kind of insane. Fear it. But yeah, you've got to be playing Veilers and Maxis in that kind of format when those things come around. So I feel that your Veilers and Maxis are going to depreciate in value and use over the next maybe a month. YCS Toronto will inevitably show that the meta is quite Hero and Dark World based, hopefully. I think this is my predictions. So, Veilers and Maxis, down a bit, but keep them and side them. Side them all day long. Do not take them out of your deck, because they're going to be incredibly good against certain matchups. But they're not going to be as generic as they were before, because you can just stop, because you used to be able to just Maxi against everything and Veiler against everything. Not as generic as before, but still, hold them. Next on my list is Thunder King Ryo. Everyone knows about Thunder King Ryo at the moment, because Thunder King Ryo ruins a lot of fun. There are a lot of decks that are very heavy on search, and Thunder King Ryo is people answering these rogue decks, because again, as I just showed you, Gear Karakuri OTK loses to Thunder King, and I have to main a lot of outs to that, and a lot of people are going to be playing triple Thunder King. Thunder King is an incredibly big card of this format. If you want a market watch suggestion, I'd say pick up your high rarity Thunder Kings now if they haven't already bounced in value, because I haven't really been looking for them because I have my secrets. If they haven't bounced in value, get them while you can and get in a lot so you can make money off them. I feel that will be a good investment. If they have gone up, hold the ones you have and try and get a good deal on them, because I feel they're going to be a very, very, very good card this format, especially when the Dark World Hero Agent morass kind of devolves and spreads into the kind of field of rogue decks that we're going to be seeing later on in the format. Again, just my views. Another card that I really feel is going to be quite something is Tsukuyomi. A lot of people have been discounting this card, and I really feel that it's going to be quite something. Tsukuyomi, there we go. I went and dug it out of my deck, but I edited that out because I'm awesome. Yeah, Tsukuyomi. I think this card is going to be quite something, and a lot of people really are discounting it. In certain decks, I should add that sensor in. This isn't something that you should splash into everything. If you have weaknesses against certain high attack, low defense monsters, or if you have flip effect monsters that you want to abuse, play Tsukuyomi. This deck that I'm testing plays Gigiyama, and it loses to Thunder King. This has a really great effect because of the fact that it can either flip your Gigiyama face down, or flip that Thunder King face down and kill it, and that Thunder King is going to be ruining your day. So I'd rather have this and a Book of Moon to deal with Thunder Kings than just this. But in certain decks, it's absolutely useless. If you don't lose to Thunder King and you don't lose to certain big attack, small defense monsters, this is useless. Don't play it. But Tsukuyomi, I think, is going to be quite something. I just feel it's a tech card for certain decks. Be careful of what you do. Another card that I feel is going to be really quite awesome, but it's quite a heavily hyped card, is Gear Gigant X. This blue gadget, as MCole40 has been calling it. Gear Gigant X is a really interesting card for the gadget and machine archetypes, simply because it gives you so much extra search. Because before, gadgets could pile onto the field and just not really know where they're going, and sometimes gadgets would be in need of muscle because, let's face it, they can't always get to their gear frames or fortresses to give themselves an extra bit of power, so they're gonna lose out quite heavily there. So this is where this guy comes in. This guy searches out your Machina fortresses. See where I'm going with this? And again, the Gigia engine gives a lot of power to this. So you're going to be seeing a lot more plussing from that engine, and anything that plays machines, so Karakuris on their own are going to be playing this, and I feel that this card is going to be integral to a lot of chains, because there are a lot of things that had potential, and this is kind of the missing link that they were needing to generate loads of advantage and make a relatively big monster and just generally ruin your day. And to round things off, my last card that I don't think anyone's really been talking about, but I think is going to be an amazing card coming into the next format, is going to be Orient Dragon. I feel that Orient Dragon is going to be much needed in your extra decks, especially if you play tuners in the coming weeks and the coming months, because I feel that Synchro monsters are going to definitely be coming back quite heavily, and you're going to need your Orient Dragons to deal with them, quite frankly, because sometimes you're not going to be able to drop huge monsters to beat over them. And Orient Dragon is always great fun. And for the Debris Dragon players, you're going to need an Orient Dragon because you've got Iron Chain Dragon, and that, that's really nice to have. But it's not going to remove that Stardust Dragon without crashing into it, is it? Think about it. And also, it's a really good thing to fill the void that Brionac left, because Brionac was your #1 kind of thing for getting rid of Synchro monsters, in a way. So Orient Dragon is going to really help deal with that void that has been left by Brionac. And otherwise, I think that's about all I have time for. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope that my editing comes out alright and isn't horribly scruffy, which brings me to point 2.5, which is, did you enjoy the editing, or should I just stop and do my natural videos, because I felt like having a tinker around on my laptop with Windows Movie Maker. So let me know what you thought. Otherwise, this has been Jamie the Kid 00. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again next time with more discussions, and I will see you UK people and maybe some of you Europeans in YCS Sheffield. Have a good one.